please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call this meeting of Independent School District 544 to order. Clerk, will you establish a quorum for us, please?
Certainly. Kirby Anderson.
Present.
Natalie Knudsen.
Here.
Melanie Cole.
Here.
Matthew Lemke.
Here.
Missy Hermes, present. Stephen Vigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda passes. Moving on to our next item would be under reports. We have Kirby Anderson, 544 Education, Foundation, and Finance.
Yes, the 544 Education actually had two meetings since our last report here. Our April 11th meeting, I believe, was snowed out, so we met a week later on April 18th. And then we met again on Thursday, May 9th. So I'll just kind of combine those two. We had Jeff Drake at our meeting on Thursday last week, and Jerry was there as well. So he got to meet the board, so that was nice. We also had we talked about the senior recognition ceremony, and 544 Foundation is very involved with that, and they were happy about how that went. I think it record time, I think, is what we said. It got done very efficiently. They talked about the classroom wish list request that emails was sent out to teachers. I think Jerry just reminded people today or yesterday, just a friendly reminder to get those requests in. That's a big part of the 544 thing, is to fill the needs for some of those things that sometimes the budgets have already been exhausted, and it's kind of the things that people want instead of always needing. So it's kind of fun to get some of those things in. They're sponsoring the retired staff reunion. It's this Thursday from 10 to 11:30. So that'd be the morning of Jerry's retirement party. So they sent invitations out to all the retired staff the first week in April. So, and that's at the YMCA. So Thursday, 10 o'clock at the YMCA for a retired staff reunion. Let's see. Alumni database, they've been cleaning that up. And we've been trying to find one person from each class here that has been involved in reunions that kind of knows where everybody is in their class. I did that for our class of 74, I think 1974. And I went through and found about 20 of the 40 people that she did not have.
Really glad you clarified that.
Yes, thank you. Legends Golf Tournament is May 23rd. I'm sorry, that's our next meeting. What is it?
July 12th.
Thank you, July 12th, yes. So Tony Renz has been working on that. They have new materials. They went out. I don't know if some of you have seen it or not. They have the new logo.
Sure.
Pretty good stuff. So it's a big deal. And it's a really nice glossy thing. I think they're just right at about $1 million in assets. I think just under $1 million with a couple liabilities that they have to pay out. So that's a big mark to get to. So I'll leave this here if somebody wants to look at this later. There's a copy you can look at. And as far as the finance committee goes, we have the proposed budget. I think you and I and Matt got that in an email the other day. It's like a 64-page PDF thing. So we should talk sometime about getting together soon on the finance and discuss that. And we'll have to kind of shoehorn that in with when Mark is going to be here. So because he's going to be gone more than he's here in the next few weeks, next month. Okay, that's all I have.
Any questions for Kirby? Thank you, Kirby. Melanie Cole, Special Ed Co-op, Region 1, and activities.
We haven't had any activity, and Region 1 is just, again, last month was staff changes and expansion of the Synergy program, but nothing really extraordinary there. And then today we had our Special Education Cooperative meeting, and did resolutions on a couple of retiring staff, and continued to move forward with planning. We're expecting the director to retire in June, and then we'll open it up and seek to have her as a candidate for that position as we rehired. So that's a summary of my committee activities.
Any questions for Melanie? Thank you, Melanie. Ms. Hermes, staff development and curriculum review.
All right, on staff development, we did not meet because all the funds have been allocated for this year. But they are going to meet on May 31st so that anyone who has proposed some staff training that they want to do during the summer will be able to do that. And then under curriculum review, we had a great meeting on April 15th. And the people that were reporting that day were Michelle Hexum, Catherine Anderson, and Katie Hyachek from the Family and Consumer Science Department. And also Mrs. Anderson was reporting on work-based learning. And what's interesting about FACS, or Family and Consumer Sciences, that's different from maybe other subjects, is that they don't have standards that are set by the Minnesota Department of Education. They go by frameworks. And so those frameworks, and they also have to have, our program has to be approved every 5 years. And so they are getting ready to have that approved. And it was very interesting. In addition to that, Mrs. Anderson, who is now going to have that work-based program really fired up next year, she had just 2 students that were doing it this year. And that was Sophie Rausch, who was at Lake Region Healthcare, and then a young man who was at Nelson Ford. And so those students came and they had PowerPoint presentations that were very exciting about what they learned and how much they loved it. And so I'm really excited for the next 10 students that are going to be able to go through that program. And hopefully you get to hear from them next year too. The other thing, person that reported was Mark Maston, and he was talking about technology replacement and what the upgrades that are going to happen during the summer. For example, they're going to have upgrades on teacher workstations, all 76 teacher workstations. They're going to be increasing the wireless capabilities in the different classrooms, also changing the projection devices that teachers are going to be able to have, and the projection screens, and then also, again, that change from having a computer lab, because we need those as classrooms now, and instead having the carts that can go from room to room with the computers on them.
And that's all happening here at Kennedy, correct?
All through the district.
All through the district.
All of the
Okay.
teacher workstations are going to be,
Okay.
yeah.
We replaced
76.
about 40% this last year. So it's the ones who haven't gotten the new computers will be getting soon.
Okay.
Right.
Any questions for Missy? Did she talk anything, or did you pick up anything different when they're talking about framework from standards, if there was
Well,
any of a difference? How many changes that the framework has made into her?
well, it is, it's here, I can show this to you on, she gave us a course description with a lot of information on there and the different frameworks. And how they look similar to a standard in that they have the different things that they want each student to do for each topic. It's just they're calling it a framework. But they also, and maybe
20 years ago, they were objectives.
Okay,
And
so
their
it changes
standards,
all the time.
Other frameworks,
Oh, okay.
pretty much the
Yeah.
same thing.
Well, the thesaurus, change the word.
Okay.
She also told us that if you do want to look them up, anybody can find them on the Minnesota Department of Education Career and Tech Ed website.
Okay.
So you could go there tonight and find that.
Did she say why, and maybe you said it already, but did she say why it's framework versus standard?
She did not.
Be curious, but suppose
I don't know why that is
Look it up,
different,
I suppose.
just because the month before, we had a report from the science departments on how the we had been waiting for a long time for those standards to be updated. And no, I don't know why it's called a framework versus an objective versus because that's really what they are, objectives,
Right.
all of them.
I think a framework, literally like it sounds, is it gives you the structure it gives you some more autonomy how you're going to reach that framework. So one school might reach it in a FACS class, one might reach it in a science class. So it gives you, these are things that have to be done, but it gives the district, depending on their staffing, and courses that they offer, how they can accomplish it. So it gives you a little bigger opportunity to do that.
Right, and the map, she's mapped all these out for each different topic, and with specific things that they're doing, the activities, the things that they're learning in class to attain that framework. Or
Any other-
objective, or standard.
Thank you. Any other questions for Missy? Natalie Peterson, wellness, policy, and buildings and grounds.
None of my groups have formally met, but just a couple of updates is the ALC will be presenting at our Community Thrive gathering next week regarding the 3 Good Things initiative that was rolled out in April. And I met with 3 of the students from the ALC, and they had initiated a meeting with me, wondering how they could just kind of take a deeper dive and what are some other opportunities. So they have been connected with the early childhood programs through United Way to potentially help them drive some of the initiative. But I gave them some ideas on maybe some things that they could be doing or thinking about, so we'll see how that goes. A couple of other things in food service, Lance and one of his employees will be attending the Minnesota annual conference this summer. So that's good. Hopefully they can learn some good things to bring back. And then as far as buildings and grounds, it's public news that we've acquired Target now. And then tonight we're gonna be looking at approval for some additional land to add to it, so. Exciting stuff.
Any questions for Natalie? Thank you, Natalie. For my reports, Minnesota High School League does not meet until June, so I have nothing to report for them. And then Lakes Country Service Co-op Board, we met last Thursday, and it was just a standard looking over the budget, upcoming budget for them, and just regular, nothing real special. I think everybody, including Lakes Country Service Co-op, is waiting for the legislators to make some decisions and move ahead on some policies, and I think actually just start moving. And if we can get movement, that would be good. So we can just get them moving. But anyway, so that was kind of the amount of that, so nothing really too out of the ordinary for that meeting. So that's what I have to report. Any questions for me? Okay, Stephen Vigus, legislative liaison, and meet and confer.
Well, the legislature has not moved yet. Part of my report.
Right.
That's accurate. There's a lot of stuff going on today, though. They're having a bunch of committee meetings. They're hashing out language and all the stuff. And there's a big list that the MSBA put out, and I printed it off. I left it at work. No, it's right here. These are all the things that are, and I'm not going to go through, but there's 12 pages of things that affect education that they're trying to hash out, but the Senate and the House are so different right now. For example, the Senate wants what the governor wants, which is a 3% and 2% increase on, respectively, on school funding. The Senate wants 0.5%, so they're going to hopefully meet in the middle. I'm not going to speculate on anything else because I don't want to say, don't want to give any false hopes or whatever, but there's, after tonight's committee meetings and the next report that I give, we'll hopefully have some more meat to it, or we'll have an extension of the session, depending on how far away they are from each other. And so that's all I have for legislative, and meet and confer has not met or conferred, so that's about it for me.
Just kind of adding into the legislative, sounds like Wednesday is the target day. They want to have their targets set so then the conference committees can go in and hash it out. The big one is the gas tax.
Yes.
Yeah. So if there's who flinches on the gas tax, then everything else falls into place, you know, so, yeah, so the governor, he was here, I forget, April 29th, you know, and we had met with him, Jeff Drake, in fact, we had met with him, and just basically he's saying, yep, we're working on the 3 and 2, we want to do something for cross subsidy, but I think a lot of that is, you know, the Senate, because will they, if once sales tax off, okay, now we'll move up for the other funding. So it's the big game right now of who's going to finish. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm just going to keep going. Sorry.
Yep, no worries.
So couple weeks left here. So tonight, orchestra. Wednesday, choir concert. Next week, ALC graduation is on the Thursday night. And then Friday night, the big graduation here at Kennedy. So you have the Fergus Falls High School located here at Kennedy. You've got IQ and the ALC. They're all invited to that graduation ceremony. And then there's so many activities going on. You know, there's everything from Kirby probably pulled a hamstring at kickball with kindergarten kids a little bit. So we've got lots of field trips. We got yes, he's in therapy. No, he's not. That's a joke. So we just have lots of great things that are happening. And the weather is conducive. A lot of things can happen. Good things outside, getting fresh air, coming back in. So it's nice that we can finish up. It seems like, oh my gosh, today you know, golf is going somewhere, baseball is going, we're trying to get those in, we're trying to do education, all of those things, but, you know, we're due to have some good weather here, so everyone can smile here again, so it's all good.
What time is the ALC grad on Thursday?
That is at 7 o'clock as well, and that is in the auditorium here. And what happens then is they come here, we do use the auditorium, then they walk across the street, and there's a nice reception for everybody following that. And, you know, in our work session, we'll get a list of who's going to which ones and all that. But, yep, that, you know, to be honest, I'll just say something about the ALC graduation. It's my favorite graduation because it's so intimate, and staff get up and talk about every single student, and many times the students are talking so personally about the relationship with the staff. It gives me chills, just how connected they are and the hardships they've gone through. It's a very emotional night, and it's a great night. So if you can possibly make that graduation, you would really enjoy it. And Melanie's speaking, right? There you go. You got to hear Melanie.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. There we go.
Any questions for Superintendent Ness? Okay, we have a resolution on acknowledgements.
I'd like to offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. A thank you to Sammy Ebert, Sarah Pulowski, and the middle school play for their generous donations to the Otter Angel account, an account created to anonymously assist families unable to pay for student meals. And a thank you to Diana Longton for the donation of an alto saxophone, trumpet, and percussion kit to the Kennedy Secondary School Music Department.
So Missy offered that resolution, move for its adoption. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Natalie Knutson. Yes. Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have our general consent items. We have the minutes for the April 22nd, 2019 regular board meeting and April 30th, 2019 special board meeting. Bills and treasury report. Kirby Anderson and Melanie Cole.
Yes. The bills have been reviewed, and the fund balance is, our bank account has gone up from $7.5 million up just over $8 million. Nothing unusual in the bills this month. Mostly the normal things, and so that's about all I have to say. So I recommend that we approve the treasurer's report.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All right.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay, personnel, Elaine Jenkins.
Oh, well, there has been some action in that area, as you can see by what we have down in our agenda. So, to start off with our support staff, we have the hire of Ethel Eslison in our cafeteria. She'll do a lunch computer here at Kennedy Secondary School. And we have 3 resignations: Brooke Coleman, cafeteria; Isaiah Lemke, special ed paraprofessional; and Josh Troutner, mechanical worker. And then we go on to retirements, certified staff retirements, Kathleen Rittenauer and Quentin, which is otherwise known mostly by the name of Chip McAllister, and there's resolutions further down in our school board new business on those two teachers. And then for certified staff hires, these are all for the 2019-20 school year. We have Michael Baer, physical education teacher at IQ. Michael worked for us years back and is returning in an IQ staff. Angela Leach, elementary teacher, 5th grade. Sarah Christensen, 1st grade. Riley Seelan, 1st grade. Kaylee Macau, health education teacher at IQ Academy. Ruth Umloff, elementary music teacher. And Kylie Peterson, elementary music teacher. So I highly recommend those for approval and hire.
I will just comment on the two retirements. So you recall that we had leaves of absences not long ago, and you can see their dates. And what they were kind enough to do is not, they could have started the year and retired on September 9th, September 18th. What they chose to do is take that leave, so then now we can hire their replacements, and now their retirement date is set. So they're, once September 9th, September 18th, those effective dates, their leaves are then gone. Okay, so they're, once they retired, their leave would go away. So those would go. So that's the process there.
Thank you.
Would somebody offer a motion to approve the general consent items?
So moved.
We'll go
I'll
C.
second it.
Kirby for a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the general consent items, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The general consent items passed. There is no old business. Moving on to new business, we have a resolution on the retirement of Kathleen Rittenauer. Whereas Kathleen Rittenauer began her employment with the Fergus Falls Public Schools in February 1988, and whereas Kathleen has been a valued employee with the Fergus Falls Public Schools for the past 31 years, and whereas Kathleen has done an excellent job as a physical education, health, DAPE teacher for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Kathleen Rittenauer for her 31 years of dedicated service to the Fergus Falls Public Schools. Will somebody offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
I'll offer the resolution and move for its adoption.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Melanie Cole,
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 2, we have a resolution on the retirement of Quentin Chip McAllister. Whereas Chip McAllister began his employment with the Fergus Falls Public Schools in June 1987, and whereas Chip has been a valued employee with the Fergus Falls Public Schools for the past 32 years, and whereas Chip has done an excellent job as an elementary teacher for the district, and now therefore be it resolved by the Fergus Falls School Board to thank Chip McAllister for his 32 years of dedicated service to the Fergus Falls Public Schools. Will somebody offer that resolution and move for its adoption?
So moved.
Missy, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Kirby, second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Stephen Vigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
Natalie Knudsen.
Yes.
Melanie Cole.
Yes.
Matthew Lemke.
Yes.
Missy Hermes, yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 3 is we have a motion to approve a purchase agreement to acquire 8 acres of land located on the Pioneer Road adjacent to the Target property at a cost of $160,000 and subject to the final acquisition of the Target building. Do you want to speak on that first, or?
Yes, there's, I guess for people that are looking at this, this is right behind Nelson Ford. If you're going along the Target building on the east side, so you're going by Caribou, going by Jimmy John's, you go straight ahead. About halfway through the Target building, there's an open field, and this is right now a tillable field, and it will remain that way this summer. This purchase is probably being closed around December, again, pending everything going okay with the Target facility. This land gives us additional green space, gives the opportunity that there's more students can be added to the building because you have green space. And it's a, state requirement, they're a little bit lenient on some things, but they do like so many square feet of green space for each child in the building. So this gives the district the opportunity to have flexibility with the target building as you plan it in the future.
Okay, we'll get the motion first.
Will somebody offer that motion to approve the purchase agreement?
So moved.
Melanie, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We're gonna take Steve on that one. Okay, discussion.
So there was some discussion about maybe acquiring just a touch more property than the 8 acres, but that wasn't feasible, or?
We could purchase more if you would like to.
But this will
Well,
qualify
with
for what we need, or
what the state law is stating for a school, you need 10 to 15 acres minimum, and then you need 1 acre for every 100 students. Okay, so with the original purchase price of our purchase agreement of the target building, you have 8.59 acres.
Okay.
So you add the 8 in there, and you meet the requirement, plus you have the 4 extra, say there's 400 students in there, you have another 4. So this, there's still an opportunity to add more land if you so choose, but we thought this would be appropriate for the amount we need. It's not the minimum, it's not the maximum for the state requirements, but it fits right in the middle there.
It seems like it fits in there quite well with the road easement on the
It does.
north, the boundary on the west, the boundary on the south.
kind of a natural?
It's a very natural block, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that map is in the purchase agreement, it looked very,
Yep.
very clean.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Item number 4 is approval to accept a $17,900 easement proposal from the city of Fergus Falls to allow routing city utilities on school property along Mount Faith Avenue and Sheridan Street as part of the street reconstruction in the Sheridan, Summit, Burlington, and Mount Faith neighborhood. Would somebody offer that motion? And we'll have
Yep.
to approve?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Melanie. Do we have a second?
Second?
Discussion.
So basically, if you look at the levee parking lot, all the utilities are going underneath that parking lot. And what the city is proposing here is, let's put the utilities along the boulevard on the street like everywhere else, rather than have it. So if you ever have to replace, as long as they're replacing things now, let's do this right. So if you ever have to work on the parking lot, you might disturb, all the utilities, so let's put them in on the boulevard, and that's what this is about. So we are giving them access, so they're paying the money to us for that easement right.
Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 5 is to set the regular lunch rate for FY '20 to $2.55 per lunch for grades K through 5, and $2.70 per lunch for grades 6 through 12, in accordance to the federal paid lunch equity calculation. And I am saying that on purpose. So, do you want to have a discussion on that? or-
Again, Mark gave a lot of data in the work session, and basically, we've been going out about a dime a year, even though we're in the black, but it's a federal rule here, federal lunch paid equity calculation, and until we get that rate for the elementary up about to 275, we're going to have to continue. So I think we have 2 more years of a dime a year, and we'll get to that 275, and then it'll level off and stay the same. And it, I put in my Friday, this is the one that Darrell Tung says, his teeth would just grind on this one, because it's like, hey, why are we charging more? We're in the black, we don't need to, but it's a federal, one of the federal regulations that we have to coincide with.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous that if we don't get to set our own price, then why do we have to vote on it and approve something that we didn't initiate? But
Well, you
whatever.
could jump all the way right now,
Yeah.
so we're doing the minimum
Yeah,
amount,
okay.
so you could actually just go, hey, let's just get to the number and But we're saying let's hold on as long as we can to keep it as low for our families. And what this does is it puts pressure on our Angel account, to be very honest. So we want people to file for the free and reduce and get access. We get benefits from people being on free and reduce and other ways. So I'm hoping we'll do a real active campaign starting the fall. Let's get people in here, because this number is getting higher, and even for the families who, they have 2-3 children, boy, this adds up in a hurry, and so.
So, will somebody offer this motion to approve?
I'll move to
Okay,
approve
Kirby,
that.
thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I think it's 4.7%, I think is what it is, the dime, so, yeah. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And I will add that staff lunch, that has not been set yet, that will be done at a later date as soon as the calculations are in. So staff could be affected from this as well, but the number isn't known yet.
Item number 6 is to adjust staff pay rate for driver's education program to $25 an hour effective on May 13th, 2019. Will somebody offer that motion for approval? Steve, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just doing the research and the driver's ed teacher out brought Georgia. We have been notoriously low here, to be honest, for quite a few years. This gets us to the professional pay rate. It matches what's in the master agreement for professional pay, and it's appropriate. And the fees that are currently being charged students will support this.
Okay, good. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That concludes our regular school board meeting. Some dates here is, first is this week, we have an open house retirement celebration for Superintendent Jerry Nennis. This Thursday, May 16th. It's going to be held at the Gold Gym at Kennedy Secondary School right here. It starts at 3:30 through to 5 o'clock, and the program starts at 4:15. But for the general public who will be coming, I would recommend to come a little bit later at 3:35, and then the buses will have left by that time, and then you can park up close to the Gold Gym instead of parking way back in the student area that you would have to park by the tennis courts. So just come a little bit later, it's okay. And like I said, you'll miss most of the traffic, which you'll appreciate too. So if you come at 3:35 and start driving in, you'll be just fine. And then our next regular school board meeting will be Tuesday, May 28th at 7 a.m. Mark your time. Right here at the Kennedy Secondary School at the Outer Community Room. Following the adjournment of this meeting, we will go into a work session to talk about the summer building projects, graduation ceremonies, and set policy meeting. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.